All right, we are live on YouTube. We have prevailed, Jamie. So welcome to the Weiner Wellness Virtual Summit. This is our 10 o'clock lecture, and we're a little bit behind schedule, so just stay with us today, and we're going to try to remedy these challenges we're having. But today we have a very special lecture with Jamie Dorley, CEO of Nutritional Frontiers. And he's going to be talking to us about weight loss, the secrets to weight loss, and really what is the truth? Because as you always say, Jamie, the truth will set you free, right?
Absolutely. And I thank you so much, Dr. Tracy Straub, for having the perseverance to keep going, even though when there are technological glitches and challenges, right?
Right.
So first of all, I want to thank you and the entire team at the Weiner Wellness Center for an incredible virtual Weiner Wellness Week for the first time. This is our 19th year of doing wellness events with the team at the Weiner Wellness Center. And this is the first time we've gone virtual because everything that's going on right now in the world. And I appreciate everyone working so hard to make this possible. And I actually think, in spite of everything, this was probably our biggest and best event. It gives me some great ideas moving forward. So as you would say, put your seatbelt on. And we're going to turn up the intensity and the speed a little bit. And then the other part is I'd like to thank, of course, the late, great international icon, Dr. James Weiner. Cheers to him as a co-founder of Nutritional Frontiers. Cheers, everyone out there. It's our birthday today, so happy 12th birthday at Nutritional Frontiers. So I'd like to talk about this topic because, oftentimes when someone talks about weight loss, it may be somebody like you or Candace or Joe that looks great and never had a weight issue and always in great shape. However, I'm living proof that, success comes greater challenges. I've had great success on programs and I've had other challenges. So I want to talk about, because I've experienced it personally, challenges with gaining weight, losing weight, and maintaining a healthy weight. Because there's so many fads out there and you have all these different diets out there that I want to bring some common sense and reality. And more importantly, some strategies, Tracy, that people can use right now to help them get to that healthy weight and maintain it. Because, people see someone, they may ridicule them or ridicule themselves. And, nobody wants to be out of shape. Everybody wants to look great. However, it is simple, but not always easy. So we'll talk about body weight, good fat, bad fat, the standard American diet, and so many different concepts that are out there right now. So I appreciate all your help in making this possible. And I guess I have to go into overtime here because, or overdrive because we're behind the schedule. So
That's okay.
Well, one of the things is that when you look at evolution of obesity, right? So I don't want people to concentrate on the left side because evolution, there's a lot of controversy, but let's focus more on the right side, right? This is very typical what you may see at Disney World. I mean, at some of the amusement parks. I know you went to Hershey Park last summer and I was at Kennywood in Pittsburgh. And this is some of the things you'll actually see on the right-hand side. Last time I was at the park, I see a lot of people in scooters, the rascals, right? So, and it's often not because they're disabled, it's because they are not able to walk properly or maintain that energy throughout the day. And our real goal is to make sure that people are a healthy weight, not just for aesthetics, right? But more importantly, for body function. So this is really what's going on. But right now, obesity has increased in pretty much every state across the country. It's decreased in 0 states, and some states are a lot worse than others. Some southern states, maybe Mississippi, West Virginia, Louisiana, but it doesn't discriminate. It affects pretty much every state that's out there. So people have challenges regardless of where they are. But we really want to make sure that we're going in the right direction so that we can continue to have success, continue to have wellness, so that when people are facing health challenges, it's not just about what they look like, but more importantly, how their body's functioning. So when you look at the map here, this looks at, all the different toxicity issues. and is looking at, well, why would you put that in here? Well, you look at toxicity, that's more of a concern when people are overweight, because at certain ages, you know, when you're a baby, when you're going through puberty or young adulthood, you'll gain more fat cells. But once you have that number of fat cells, you really don't gain a lot more. What happened is the fat cells swell. And I remember Dr. Bob Rakowski had a theory, him and Dr. Bland, years ago when I would watch their lecture. They would say, Tracy, that what comes first? Is it the toxin or the fat cell? Because your body will store these toxins in your fat cells. So when you want to lose weight, what happens? Well, the fat cells really swell. And what happens is a lot of people over time will become very toxic. And the body's solution to pollution is dilution. So they'll hold a lot more fluid outside the cells because the body is trying to dilute these toxins. So you look at it all over the world, you know, air pollution, but you look at the environmental risks. This is leading to all different types of chronic diseases, not only lungs, but heart disease, strokes, but overall toxicity is at all-time high. So possible effects of these toxins, right? You know, you have different things in your body. A lot of people have heavy metals, right? You know, it may affect different parts neurologically, right? That's one of the key leadings into some things that people are suffering with when they think about, okay, what's affecting dementia, but also heart disease, right? You know, look at not only the clogging of the arteries, but you look at mercury, cadmium, lead, arsenic. These are all very commonly found in water, food, air, medications. So we're exposed to many different toxins on an everyday basis. So how do we get fit? Well, I know from being an American College of Sports Medicine personal trainer, competed in natural bodybuilding and powerlifting. I was a quote unquote, I loved all the different names, Tracy, as a kid, right? You're husky, you're solid, you're stocky. Well,
Yeah,
just say
big boned,
right?
big boned, right? Yeah.
Big bone. I'm like, I'm big bone and I'm big waisted, right? So there was a lot of things growing up. And, you know, if you look at me as a kid, I was a chubby kid, but compared to nowadays, I probably look pretty good versus a lot of kids, right? Because, you know, back then you were so active and you played so much sports. You were in the woods playing, biking, constantly playing outside. So what I learned a long time ago was that it's more than just one thing. So your body's 70% water. So you need to make sure your body's hydrated. One of the first signs of hunger is dehydration, right? You know, so you got to make sure you are managing stress. Some people eat when they're stressed. I know you don't eat. You got to make sure you're active. Sleep is where your body repairs. So you got to do these foundations of health, is what we call them at Nutritional Frontiers. And you need to supplement. It's really challenging getting in healthy food every day consistently. So these are just some of the factors you need to look at. It's not a one thing and it's going to help you with everything. You can't out exercise a bad diet. You can't out supplement a bad diet. You can't even out medicate a bad diet. So you need to make sure you focus on all the different lifestyles choices that you have control over. And I know genetics, yeah, I'm not, you know, born the leanest person, but I can't change the genes. But I did learn from your incredible professional training event on biohacking your genetics that the environment of the gene is more important than the gene itself. The expression, the nutrigenomics, how the gene actually works and presents itself is more important. And that's all a result of the environment you put it in. For example, you lay on the couch, you eat really high sugar diet, you don't move a lot, your body's going to promote fat storage. That same body taking outside, walking, meditating, yoga, aerobics, weightlifting, eating healthy, clean foods, that diet and that environment for that body is going to change dramatically. So you have a lot more control over what you do, but the genetics is a very small part of it. So all the factors, I love when I used to work with clients. I know you did the same as a personal trainer, and I would show them the program. And they're like, "Oh, I know this already." I'm like, "Are you doing it? Are you doing it consistently? You can't eat good part-time." I know some people say 80%. I really say it's 90%. The healthier you eat, the more you move, the better you sleep, the more consistent you are with your supplements, the better results you'll get long-term. And hey, when there's times like I'm behind the 8 ball, I got, less time to get in shape for a wedding, barbecue, maybe a reunion, the beach, whatever it may be, you got to tighten up even more. So we'll talk about that, cycling your program a little bit here, a little bit further. So I like consistency. I know the in vogue, hip, exciting thing to do right now is intermittent fasting. I like how you said, Tracy, to do that part-time, maybe 2-3 days a week, but it doesn't mean you don't eat it at all. I'm more of the old school, eat smaller, consistent meals, because what this does, Tracy, is it gets you to eat healthier foods. When people do intermittent fasting, some people think that they can eat whatever they want during an abbreviated period of time. That may be true.
Yes.
What happens when you eat for extended periods of time? Or you're in a situation like a family gathering, Mother's Day, work-related event, where you have to eat at different times. The same with bariatric surgery, right? All that does is limits the calories they can eat, but it never changes their diet. So I'm of the old school. Hey, eat smaller, more frequent, healthy meals that your body can digest, assimilate, and excrete. So there's a very easy saying, 3x3 and 5x9. That's small meals, snacks, or shakes. And the quality, the clean foods is really the consistency. Everyone knows about quality of food, right? Broccoli versus Twinkie. They know about quantity. Hey, I got it. Even if I eat healthy food, I can't have 4 chicken breasts, right? But the timing, I think, is almost just as important, because what it does is it balances your blood sugar and it creates a fat burning machine that versus a fat storing machine. And not only that, we can change your metabolism in one meal. We used to think it'd take weeks or months, but you do a Nutritional Frontier Super Shake, you do the best way, you do the keto, boom. Now that information, that food is going to tell your body to increase energy, balance blood sugar, burn fat, and eliminate cravings. And that's why I like smaller, cleaner meals.
And that's what we learned from Ivy Pruce when she talked about epigenetics, that food is communication and information for your genes. So truly, it is 98% environment and how we're communicating to our genes about how they code new and healthy cells or detoxify the body. So this is dead on. And it really doesn't have a lot to do with calories. It more has to do with quality and counting chemicals over calories. So this is awesome.
Yeah, I love how you said I count chemicals over calories, because if you look at how many calories you burn a day, we did a experiment where we did a formulation of how much weight can you lose during a marathon. It's not that much weight, right? So you want to know how many calories you burn? Take your weight and put a 0 at the end. Now that's if you have some good muscle, right? So if you're 200 pounds, you burn about 2,000 calories. If you want to get into the formulas, yeah, about 3,500 calories is a pound. So what I would do is I cut calories a little bit for somebody. I get them on clean foods, and then I have them burn more. It's a very simple formula. And the goal is 1 to 2 pounds per week. Now, I know some programs you'll lose a little more at the beginning. That's those fat cells that are swollen, reducing in size, and your lymphatic system getting rid of some of the extra fluids. That's normal. But a good long-term plan, so if you want to lose, I don't know, 25 pounds, give it about, I would say, at least 15 to 20 weeks. Give it a few months. You may lose it a little bit sooner. That's okay. But the goal is not just how quick we can lose it, but how do we maintain it? So I think the best place is what you say, the modified Mediterranean food program. If it from the ground or a tree, swims, runs, or flies. I always say if it will go bad on your counter, it's probably food. If it won't, it's probably product. There is no junk food. It's either junk or food. So very simply, there's over 400 foods you can choose from. Most people consume about 20 different foods or junk. So I always start with good, healthy, fibrous carbohydrates. Carbs are not a four-letter word, right? So you want to make sure you get a carb is energy for your body, and the fibrous has fiber in it. So I always say make sure you eat vegetables. You want to eat greens and salads and a little bit of fruit, depending on blood sugar and how much weight you want to use. Don't overdo fruit, but don't eliminate it either because of all the phytonutrients. Those are your carbs and your fibers. Now you can eat protein. I prefer fish is my favorite protein. Chicken, turkey, eggs, maybe some beef. Try and make these organic, wild whenever possible, free range. And then you can go into some good healthy fats. I like olive oil. I like avocados. I've been eating a lot of olives lately, a little bit of nuts and seeds. Now be careful because these are very calorie dense, so you can't eat handfuls of nuts all day. But the idea is to have a little bit, and they really take the edge off. Did you find, Tracy, when you were at the elite level of training that they would really take away cravings, a little bit of fat?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and we would encourage it, especially if you were struggling. And it's hard that diet to diet down to, the percent body fat that you need to be, when you're competing. It's difficult, and a little bit of fat can, get you through a day. So it was also good for the brain health, because that was the other thing we struggled with. The mind was stronger than the will. So yeah, fat's good.
And
And I think,
there's a lot of different diet programs out there, right?
right.
Now, you got to remember one concept. Protein will repair muscle tissue. You need some fiber in your diet. Where it gets tricky for people is carbs and fats. They're both energy sources. So you need to choose a diet that has a little more carbs or a little more fat. You can't do both. That's where people get in trouble because a couple things that will happen. Number one, if your carbohydrates are elevated, and that's okay if you're training and eating clean, if the carbs are elevated, what happens now, any fat you eat will be stored as energy. That's where the standard American diet has the biggest problem. It's high in fat and high in carbs and sugar. Your body needs a lower fat diet when you're doing higher carbs. At the same point, if you lower your carb, you can raise the fat up a little bit. The idea is to get your body to burn body fat as energy. And it's challenging to do when the carbs and the fat's too high. It's like putting too much gas in your car. It's going to overflow and spill. So I found over the years when I was younger, back then we did a lot of lower fat diets and the carbs, the clean carbs, a little bit higher. Brown rice, sweet potatoes, oatmeal, that was okay. As I've gotten older, I found I do better with lowering the starches. So I go moderate protein, higher fibrous carbs, very low starches, and I can eat a little bit of good healthy fats. But you got to experiment. Everybody's different, and you got to adjust because over time, your body will become very complacent. So what type of exercise? Are you laughing because I made it confusing, or are you laughing because of making you hungry?
No, I was laughing because Michaela called me.
Oh, well, that's always enough to bring a smile.
That's right. So, she's so tuned into our weight loss seminar. She had questions and she can't ask, but I was like, just post them on the timeline.
Well, there's a lot of ways you can get aerobic exercise in, you can do anything that gets the heart rate up. Joe Messina always says great sex is great to get the heart rate up, right? You can use things like walking, running, biking, swimming, aerobic class. Anything that gets the heart rate up is aerobics. That's where the word comes from. Then you need flexibility. Did you like that yoga we did this week? Wasn't that awesome?
Yeah, Kara's wonderful. She's such a great instructor. I texted her. I was like, you should have your own studio. I mean, truly, she's a very gifted instructor and loved it.
spoiler alert, start Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Nutritional Frontiers yoga party starts with Kara next week. So we're excited. So you need aerobics, you need some kind of strength training. I know Michaela's asking about getting those arms extra toned for summertime. So you got to make sure you do some type of strength training. It doesn't have to be heavy weights. It could be body weight exercises. It could be weights. It could be machines. It could be bands. What do you like to use for strength training?
Right now, after being in a gym for 20 years, Jamie, I don't love being in a gym anymore. So I really prefer at home. So behind this little screen behind me is actually my treadmill. It's folded up so that I can just drop it down. I have a few free weights, and I really like body weight stuff. Push-ups, pull-ups, not that I do those really well. Squats, lunges, just anything that I'm really just using my own personal body weight and mechanics. And what I noticed at 46 and, soon to be 47 is that when we
Wow.
do more body weight activities, it helps with that vestibular equilibrium, helping you remain balanced and maintain your balance, which is one of the hardest things as we age. And I think it's to older, right, middle to older people's benefit to do more body weight activities and be able to recover with the vestibular balancing and with your own capacity, just to really remain healthy in all those aspects. Because one of the biggest things that happens as we age is we lose our hearing a little bit, we lose our vision, and vision is 80% of your balance. So if you're training your body with like core activities, physio balls, Bosu balls, and your own body weight, you can maintain a lot of your vestibular balance into your golden years. So that's the phase I'm in. And, I remember when I was 20 years old training all these people, and they would say to me, wait till you're 40, things just aren't what they used to be. And I was
Oh,
like,
then you
yeah,
laugh, right?
I
And now
did laugh.
yeah.
And
And now
although I
I'm
don't
not.
have the aches and pains that they tried to speak over me, I don't have pain, but I do notice that I'm not as strong as I was. Um, I certainly don't have the endurance I did, but then again, I'm not training as hard as I was. So I'm
Yeah.
more in a maintain phase of my health and wellness right now.
Yeah, and I think your goals change. The other thing to remember too is when you're younger, if you're playing a lot of different sports and activities, you are using a lot of different muscles. What I found is over the years of specializing more powerlifting or bodybuilding is that it wasn't as functional. And that's where I'm going now with cycling, walking, yoga, exercise, weights, all different things. Because now my goal is flexibility, some strength, endurance, cardiovascular, but more of a wellness.
So can I interject with a question from the
Sure.
audience? It says, what are your feelings about best optimal timing of your last meal? So I'll answer on the aspect of hormones, and I think maybe you can answer, just on weight loss and things like
Well,
that.
yeah, it depends on what time you go to bed, right?
Right.
So a lot of people eat for what they've done. You should really eat for what you're going to do. So if you're going
Good
to go to
point.
bed, you probably don't want to eat a whole lot at night. Anthony Moad, who worked with Nutritional Frontiers, great personal trainer, he says if you're really hungry at night, eat a nice big salad, right? Eat
Mhm.
something light, snack on lighter fibrous carbs if you're real hungry at night. If
Yeah.
you're not, there's always a 3 hour rule. It depends on what time you go to bed. If you go to bed at 10 o'clock, 7 o'clock should be about your last time you eat. Give yourself about good 3 hours. And it doesn't mean you can't eat something closer to bedtime, but it should be something a lot lighter.
Hmm.
But I try not to get too rigid. I just, a good rule of thumb is eat when it's light out, and don't eat when it's dark. They can use some simple concepts, of
Yeah.
course, in the winter and some of the changes. But I like to eat. After dinner time, you probably don't want to eat a whole lot. That's a good rule of thumb. Stop around 6, 7 o'clock.
Hmm.
And if you do eat anything after, it should be really light, fibrous carbs, or maybe a little bit of fat.
Yeah. And, it takes about 6 hours for protein to digest in our system completely, to break it down if you have good digestion, right? So, one of the things that I noticed was in the old bodybuilding days, Jamie, we would tell the bodybuilders to eat a protein meal before bed, and I think with what they're doing, the amount of activity that they're training for the next day, that's a good thing to do. For the average person, we don't want to be eating a ton of protein. And you can tell whether or not you're having good protein digestion the next morning if your eyes are puffy. If your eyes are puffy underneath or on top the next morning when you wake up, that can be some allergies. But if you're eating protein before bed, it's really telling me that your protein digestion is very slow. So if you're going to do that and you're going to have a protein meal before bed, make sure you take, a Cybezyme or a Betazyme to help facilitate that protein digestion. But like you said, a good snack before bed might be a handful of nuts. A little bit of good fibrous carbs, a little bit of protein, a little bit of fat.
Yeah, nice
Nothing
salad, some
major.
veggies,
Right,
you could put a little
exactly.
bit of, my daughter was
Sunflower
laughing.
seeds.
She's like, he puts peanut butter on his celery. I'm like, yeah, because the fibrous carbs, a little bit of fat. The other thing, Tracy, is I find people tend to get really hungry at night because they skip meals all day.
Hmm.
That's why I like that 3x3 and 5x9. If you're eating smaller meals all day, you're going to be fine at night.
Right. And
And
if they're nutrient dense, you're not going to be as hungry. You're not going to have the cravings. You're going to balance the ghrelin and leptin in the digestive system. You're going to balance the brain chemistry. So you won't be comfort eating or stress eating or cravings, because cravings are what? They're deficiencies.
yeah.
You crave chocolate, it's magnesium. You crave carrots, it's beta carotene. So there's so many different things. It's just such a good lecture just to let people understand that what their body is saying and what they actually need. So I agree
Yeah,
100%.
there's a couple of tricks I got from my old Cliff Sheets book on nutrition. If you're having cravings, do two things. One is do the opposite, right? So like lemons will really take away a craving. Lemon water, a little bit of fat. Those are really simple ways to take pickle, something like that, right? Or the other thing is change your environment, right? If you're used to sitting on that couch and you're used to eating something, go for a walk, go in another room, read a book. The craving's usually gone in about 5 or 10 minutes. But I think the body
It's
gets
true.
so used to it that's just a natural reaction.
Yep. We can have bad habits as well as good habits, right?
So like you mentioned here, the lack of sleep and stress and all these different hormones, and I know we're lacking time now, so I'm going to speed up a little bit, but these are all hormones that affect your body's ability to balance blood sugar. So think cravings, fat storage, and satiety, right? Are you full? Are you craving? Are you burning fat? Are you stressed? These all have a role together. I have a lot of experience with glucose imbalance and insulin levels, cortisol, all of these across the board. And when I first really went on my really good program about 10 years ago, I used our Berrytone at that time. I think it was called Leptin Balance. So it balanced some hormones that were associated with cravings. So make sure you're aware that the body has a lot of hormones responsible for these. And, you might have heard of cortisol before because that's our stress hormone, or glucose, right? Or insulin. These are all involved, but leptin and adiponectin, we're going to hear a lot more about in the near future. Those are involved in cravings and hormones and how well your body feels full, burns fat, and how much you store. So one of the great formulations is our Nido Keto. Why is this so popular? Because it has good fats. A lot of people have been on low-fat diets for years. They're consuming way too many carbs, and even worse, Tracy, are processed sugars. Processed sugars should be a snack after a healthy meal, not the meal itself. If you are having a lot of cravings, it's because it's way too much consumption of simple sugars, processed sugars. So one of the great ways to do that is balance it out with a Nido Keto. You don't have to be on a keto program. If you are, great. Keto, the idea is ketosis, that you're burning body fat, and you do this by pretty much eliminating carbohydrates. So I don't eliminate carbs. I just bring down the starch and sugar real low. But I love Nido Keto. It tastes fantastic. It really helps get the good fats. It has a collagen-based protein. It has MCT oils, and it has fiber in it. So a real easy way to help get food in a powder. It's really inexpensive, and it doesn't have anything in there we don't want. Some other things that help are the Garcinia, Berrytone, Tone and Lean. These can all be customized for you on a program. And then the control is excellent for any kind of cravings: alcohol, tobacco, sugar, food, doesn't matter what it is. If you're having a lot of cravings, use control.
Yeah. And I like the Nido Keto too, because you ever notice, Jamie, when people start to lose weight, their skin tone isn't as great as it used to be.
Mm.
And the good fats and the collagen really help with that skin tone and, just getting things to go back where they should.
And this is great to help balance blood sugar. I've had challenges with blood sugar over the years. I use a half a scoop of the keto with a scoop of the super shake or best way. It gives me that extra fat to balance out my sugar. There's no sugar in it. It's very low carb and it has some good proteins, but not too much. Great thing about it is it tastes fantastic. We actually had to change the names, Tracy, because people say it tastes like ice cream. Well, he said, okay, well, chocolate peanut butter ice cream, vanilla caramel ice cream, chocolate coconut. If you're having some cravings for ice cream, get the blender out at night, get a scoop of this, put some good ice in it, make it fun and get a little treat. There's nothing wrong with that. Your body doesn't need a whole lot when you're craving something like that. You just want a little bit to kind of balance you out. What's your favorite flavor?
Oh, chocolate peanut butter. Of course. I love chocolate peanut butter. My 6-year-old loves the vanilla caramel, and I know Joe Messino likes to do a ketachino in the morning and put a scoop of the chocolate coconut in his coffee. So he gets his good fats. But you know what? It's a great way to kind of biohack around, a normal habit. So if you like coffee in the morning, he uses our proteins as a creamer. Which I think is a fabulous idea. I mean, it beats Cremora for sure. You're getting your
Oh,
protein
yeah.
and good fats. There's a question about losing postmenopausal belly fat. And we have a great graphic from Dr. Kathleen Hartford where she talked about fat placement and what that really means. And I think belly fat was high cortisol, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I'm not postmenopausal, of course. So, but I understand. I did work with a lot of women that were in my days as a trainer. And I look at that as hormonal imbalance, cortisol, right? So even my niece, who's really young, she says, Uncle Jay, she says, there's a product I use by you guys. Now she runs marathons. She goes, it helped me lose like the last 10 pounds. But and I said, Adrenamax. She goes, oh, that's it. She said, it helps me sleep better too. So Adrenamax is a great formula to use for that. I also like recommending Estro Cleanse. Those two formulas together will do great job of helping you balance cortisol levels and help balance hormonal levels. Those are more long-term or moderately long-term formulations. Some people use the Tone and Lean, the CLA, but I like to use that more in smaller increments, 8 weeks at a time. So 8 weeks of the CLA, you can use the Adrenamax for about 16 weeks, and then the Estro Cleanse you can stay on. So the MCT oils are good fats that are in the keto. We actually add MCT oils to all of our shakes. So all of our shakes have protein, carbs, fiber, and great fats. So they're a nice, well balanced. The keto will have higher fat. Super shake will have a little bit higher of protein, and the whey protein will have just the good whey protein in it. Uh-oh. So I know we're running out of time here. I apologize because we got started late, but I just
Well, we're
wanted
going to go to about 11:30 and then we'll kick Jeff in at 11:30 to 12:30. So we'll probably run about 30 minutes behind.
Oh, okay. No
So
problem.
we're just going to adjust a little bit today. That's the life of technology.
And you know how flexible I am, Tracy.
Oh,
so,
yeah. I've seen it. Major hamstring flexibility.
I can touch my toes. So,
Yeah,
all
if you
right.
bend your knee.
I'm sitting down. So, I was working with Dr. Brasilia, right? And she's a doctor of Oriental medicine. She's a speaker for Nutritional Frontiers and just a fantastic healthcare professional. And she had come in and done our seminar in November. And I loved her whole topic. It was just about feeling good and being healthy and really, not accepting, anything negative and loving yourself and all the. So when she got done, I said, I really need to meet with her because I'm not feeling my best. So I went and met with her. She did a tremendous amount of testing on me, and she found a few things, food allergies, and then she found my candida levels were really high, which isn't a shock, right? I've had blood sugar problems, weight issues, stress, psoriasis over the years. So I've knew that, this was a potential issue. I've had it before. So if you're feeling bloating, if you're not able to lose weight, no matter how hard you were working, and this is why I wanted to address this, Tracy, because I want to be transparent. I'm not perfect. I was going to the gym, you guys know this, 6 days a week. I was doing cardio sometimes 7 days a week. There was no days off. I was eating a clean diet, right? But what I found is what worked for me when I was 25 doesn't work for me when I'm, 40 plus, right? And what she found is that I was eating too much starch, right? Even though I was clean, brown rice, sweet potatoes, yams, oatmeal. She says, look, your candida levels are really high. That's why you're craving so much. That's why you're bloated. That's why you're having some skin irritations. So that was really eye-opening, because when I was doing consults for everyone, I started everyone on the Can to Kill. So I've done the Can to Kill now for 3 months, lost probably like 25 pounds total. So I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm on the way. My skin is cleared up. And lately, I took off the program a little bit, gave myself a little bit of a mental break. Now I'm back on it. But I did notice that once I got through those first couple of days, I didn't have anywhere near any cravings or bloating. It worked really quick. And I was walking last night and I saw our father, Phil Henry's daughter, popped out of her car. And, hey, she's like, my dad wants me to go on this keto. She says, I says, you don't feel good today, do you? She says, no. She says, why? I says, I'm getting these headaches. I says, your body is detoxifying from the sugar. She says, how long? I says, give it 3 days, right? I said, we can do anything for 3 days. Give it 3 days and you'll start feeling better. But candida is a big issue for people, and that could be from antibiotic use. It could be from overconsumption of alcohol, sugars, carbohydrates, stress. I mean, there's so many factors that play a role in this. So you got to remember that your body has over 100 trillion good bacteria in the gut, right? These are called probiotics or pro-life. They're the good bugs. It's just like your neighborhood. You need 1 or 2 bad bugs too, but when you have too many bad neighbors, the neighborhoods go south real quick. Your intestinal tract needs some of the bad bugs in there, but when there's an overgrowth and an imbalance to the microbiome, that's when you start having all these health challenges. Anything you want to add on that? Because I know this is a big topic for you.
No, I mean, they're starting to consider that probiotics are going to be called another organ. That's how important they are. And they're very specific to each person. So they're kind of like a fingerprint. And if your fingerprints really identify who you are in society, then your probiotics identify who you are biology, right? So it's inside. You have to have them. If we have 10 times the probiotics as we do cells, it tells you that they're 10 times more important than our cells. So having a good bacteria flora, more good guys than bad guys, more good neighbors than bad neighbors, very important to our health, our immune system, our neurotransmitter production, and our weight, because it tells us nutrient need. They are communicators of our body.
Yeah, so I use the Superbiotics by Nutritional Frontiers every morning. If I don't use that for a few days or a week, I notice right away my pants get tighter. So interesting. If you learn one thing on this today, learn this part right here. This was incredible research. So if you're not into science, that's okay. The takeaway here is that they actually realize that obese mice versus slim mice, so translate that to obese people versus slim people, have different populations of gut bacteria, different bugs in their gut. When this bacteria is injected into the mice, they gain weight over 14 days, Tracy, even though they ate less. Let that sink in for a minute. So the bacteria in your intestinal tract will determine how much weight you gain regardless of what you eat. That's enough reason today to cut out the processed junk, right? I'm going to the grocery store the other day. I didn't know they made Twinkie cereal. Like the Twinkies aren't bad enough. Hershey's Kiss. The cereal aisle has to be the most damaging aisle in the grocery store, right? the colors, the cartoons, I mean, it's unbelievable.
The BHT.
Yeah, right.
Which is an explosive. Why is it a preservative in cereal? I don't know.
It's unbelievable. So these are the types of things that feed the bad bugs. So folks, that's what we want to talk about today is this is what the cause is, not the cure. The cure is not lower calories. They've proven it here with the studies. So people harbor bacteria from these same two groups. Obese having more of this firmicutes, right? And fewer of the bacteroidetes than slim people, okay? So just like the mice, people are the same way. So what we want to do is go to the cause and change your microbiome. If you do that, and I'm living proof, I know you said I look good. Thank you so much. It is payday today, so I get that compliment quite a bit today. So yes, the way I did it was not by exercising more. I was going 6-7 days a week. I was spending 2 hours a day. I was eating all the clean foods I ate when I was 25. The thing I did differently this time was I went to the cause, and the cause was my microbiome was out of balance. Too much of the bad bugs, regardless of what I was eating, I was gaining weight. So folks, this is a very simple way to change your microbiome by incorporating things like Can to Kill and superbiotics. I'm going to talk about those here in a few minutes, but this is the key. What you eat is proven to be the major determinant of the bacteria in your gut. 70% of your, now think about like things like Corona, right? 70% of your immune system is in and around this microbiome. So if you're promoting higher body fat, if you have higher body fat levels, if you're storing fat at a higher level, regardless of how much calories you're eating, think about, oh, not I'm only at risk for being overweight, I'm at risk for chronic inflammation, lower immune function, and high risk of anything that's out there. Yeah, diabetes, blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, cancers, COVID-19, regardless of what you want to stamp of what you may catch, you're at risk factor across the board. Many people are overweight due to excessive amount of undigested food. Has anyone ever bloated that's come and talked to you, Tracy? You ever hear that? Oh, I'm so
yeah, bloated
Doesn't matter
after
what
I
I eat.
eat.
I get bloated
Right.
when I eat vegetables. So what do? They stop eating veggies, right? It's not the problem. The problem is your digestive system is backed up. You need to give it a break. So my program is really simple. Let's starve the bugs by taking away sugar and dairy. Let's kill them with things like Can to Kill, and then let's replace them with superbiotics. What do you think?
No, I love it. I'm always big on probiotics and gut health, and I think all health does begin in the gut, so you can't escape it. And this is one of the things you're not going to hear in the mainstream. You can go see a registered dietitian, and they're going to tell you, here's how many macros you need, here's the vitamins you need, but they're never really going to speak to you about, good probiotic-based health. And, as we said before, it wasn't the coronavirus that was the threat. It was our chronic inflammation. And the virus just happened to be the drop of water that overflowed the inflammation bucket. So, the people that were most susceptible, those that had the most inflammation, diabetes, the obese, immunorepressed, right? And then we had lung issues and the elderly. So, and most of the inflammation was coming from the SAD diet, the standard American diet. So hopefully what we learned from all of this and even from it today, that we have to do better and be more thoughtful in how we treat our bodies, because they will respond to the environment we create for it.
Yeah, and a lot of people that come to me, even, I'm battling with, my kids sometimes on what they eat. And I says, look, it's not a punishment to eat good. Remember, these foods that, you think are treats, they are loaded with chemicals to make them addicting. So when people say, oh, my Doritos or my Diet Coke or Mountain Dew or cookies, they're very addictive, right? And I'm not saying never have any of these things, but try and get better sources of your treats and make them a treat once in a while. But certain foods, and certain junk you should cut out. But this candida, has so many different causes associated with it, right? This can grow out of control, right? So antibiotic use. So if you take antibiotics, if you eat foods like dairy or meat that has antibiotics, it's one of those things like the camel, Shorter broke the camel's back, right? It's not just that one antibiotic therapy. It's not just using dairy. When you start layering these on top of each other, that's when you get much higher levels. Look at parasitic infections, right? Uncontrolled diabetes, right? So what came first? I learned from Jeff Nisnik that the candidiasis, and from Dr. Michael Epitropoulos, candidiasis can lead to the diabetes, right? So you look back at these things and you say, oh, okay, I get it now. But the causes can be different, and then your symptoms you present with may be different. Some of the simple ones that I've seen most commonly: overweight, gassy, bloating, chronic digestion. It could be anything from diarrhea to constipation, or back and forth. People have a lot of skin issues, right? Psoriasis, eczema, rectal itching and burning. Maybe their mood is off, right? Really moody, angry, brain fog, sugar cravings. There's so many different things that can be associated with candidiasis. So the causes may be different or compounding, and then the symptoms may be different. What are some of the ones you found to be most common?
Yeah, those, and including, skin and nails. A lot of people with yellowing, cracking nails and toenails. Like, look at
Okay.
your feet as well. A lot of people don't realize that those yellow toenails that are thick and cracked feet, the heels of the feet, people will have candida so bad that the heels of their feet and their toes have cracks that bleed. My husband was one of them, and he never believed me that it was his diet until he changed it. And he went radical whole food, like ate nothing but whole food. And in literally 5 days, his feet were clear. He couldn't believe it. And, he's like, all those years, and literally we've been married 11 years, right? It took a decade to get that across from him. So, keep in mind, guys, the diet is very important. And by changing it, you can change your health drastically.
Yeah, it's a great point. I did notice that my toenails changed dramatically without even thinking of it until you brought it up. So one of the contributing factors for weight and body comp is insulin resistance, right? We probably heard about this. This is type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes. I feel most people are insulin resistant. Remember, insulin is a hormone. Its job is to signal to the cell to transport glucose in there to the mitochondria, which is your blast furnace or your fireplace, where your energy is burned. A lot of people, especially obese people, Tracy, their cells are starving, right? They're fatigued. They don't have any energy. You'd say, well, how don't you have any energy? They're not getting the firewood into the fireplace, right? Yeah. It's not getting to the blast furnace. That's why someone like you or Candace that's in great shape, you guys eat something, it gets inside the cells, it gets burned up, right? Mm-hmm. That's the goal. The challenge is that when you become insulin resistant, now it's like that doorbell that doesn't quite work all the time, has a little bit of a short, right? It's like, oh, okay, is it working or not? So now insulin, the cells become resistant to insulin signaling, right? And the cells become inflamed, and the cells are starving for glucose. So what happens? They tell the pancreas to release more insulin. And I learned recently, your body only gets so many pumps of this insulin until what happens? Now your pancreas is burnt out.
Right.
You've gone from a pre-diabetic to a type 2 diabetic to a type 1 diabetic.
Yeah, and we know that lifestyle changes type 2 diabetes better than anything. I mean, the studies are over and over again. And there's like 34 million people that are diagnosed with diabetes, type 1 or type 2, and about 1.6 million of those are type 1. So that means everybody else is type 2, and lifestyle and changing your diet will have a major impact. The other thing is for people to consider is 40 million people are undiagnosed. Yes. 40 million. So that's a lot of people that have unstable blood sugar and could really benefit by doing some of these things that you're suggesting today: rebuilding the microbiome, decreasing the candida, changing the diet, using some of the supplementation that's going to help with blood sugar stability and carb cravings. I mean, just by adding those products and then taking some lifestyle steps, you could improve your health, energy, weight loss. It can just have this incredible, spiral of good health. And it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot of change.
No, I remember Dr. Deanna Minnick. She's a PhD in functional medicine, doctor and speaker. Oh, this is perfect timing. She says, forget about type 1, type 2, insulin resistant, healthy, pre-diet. Forget it. Don't worry about what the stamp is. Think about how the body's working. She says our bodies are all made to work in a very similar fashion. So the key is that a normal pancreas will release insulin, tell the cells to let glucose in. Type 1, you don't have any insulin. And type 2 is the insulin doesn't work well. But does it really matter? The goal is the same. Balance blood sugar, get the cells working better, and utilize exercise so your body will help manage this process better. So these are just some examples of what it looks like. But I love enzymes, right? I love probiotics. I start every day with superbiotics. I take 2 capsules. The nice thing with the superbiotics, it's a really therapeutic dose. And all of our probiotics are patented, research, trademark ingredients. And there's no shortage of probiotics on the market. The problem is a lot of them aren't therapeutic. They don't have good complexes and combinations of nutrients. And a lot of them don't have the dosing you need. So you'll see that they are manufactured to 1 billion or 5 billion or 10 billion. And you don't need 300 billion. A therapeutic dose is about 6 billion to 50 billion per day. I take 2. That's where I like. Some people take 1. Some go with our Frontier Biotics. And the other enzyme we find is really important is the pancreatic enzymes in betazyme. It has the betaine. It also has oxbile, pepsin. So it's a little stronger and really help design if you don't have the gallbladder, if you are type 2 or type 1 diabetic, if you're having problems breaking down fats, right? Or you find yourself a lot more bloated. I would look at the betazyme and the superbiotics as a nice combination.
Yeah, and if gallbladder is still the #1 surgery in the world, I think people should understand you have a problem breaking down fats.
Yeah, so maybe you still have a gallbladder, but you can't lose body fat, right? Try the betazyme. So I love shakes because they take a lot of guesswork out. They help you increase your meal frequency. So if you're doing that 3x3 and 5x9, or even doing 2 or 3 meals a day, whatever you're doing, fine. But I always recommend doing at least 1 shake a day because it's super convenient. They taste fantastic. We know exactly what's in there and what's not in there. It takes all the guesswork out. It's portion control, it's macronutrient control, it's calorie control, nutrient control, and it's budget control because all the shakes are less than $2 a piece. Can you find a healthy meal for $2, Tracy? I know you have a family, and that would be great if you could.
I can't find a coffee for less than $2 now. You know what I mean? So I mean, for people will say they can't afford health, but then go spend $7 on a Starbucks. So it's really about prioritizing, and what I like to say is health budgeting. Count up the amount of wasteful money on wasteful products that really don't serve your health, and just put that in a jar for a week. Well, your coffee every morning, maybe that Snicker bar from the vending machine, how many bottles of soda are you buying? And then just count that money and put it in a jar. And then take that money every week and buy 1 supplement that's going to enhance your health. And by the end of the month, you're on 4 new products and you're on your way to being healthier. So
yeah, and this goes on the grocery store budget. This is food, folks. This will give you breakfast every day of the month for a whole month for less than $2. Put that right in the grocery budget. Where else can you get 20 grams of protein from a non-GMO vegan source, MCT oil from the good fats, and fiber, and an easy to mix, great tasting shake? And the nice thing is, unlike a lot of shakes, we don't have the things in there you don't want. There's no lactose and soy and dairy products and artificial flavorings and colorings. And what I found from using other shakes over the years, even good ones, Tracy's, I started suffering from flavor fatigue. You know, where you drink chocolate every day forever and you just get so tired of it, you don't want to look at another chocolate shake. That doesn't happen in Nutritional Frontiers.
I don't know if
You
that
got-
happens in my world where I love chocolate so much, but I do honor that you have so many flavors.
Well, you like chocolate peanut butter and the Nido
I
Keto,
do.
right?
Yeah.
Not every
Chocolate
company
coconut
has
too.
that. You
Nope.
can get into the protocinos like Joe does. Candace gets wild and crazy by putting the pro colors in. I like to mix a little of the chocolate peanut butter with a little bit of chocolate whey. So you can have fun with it. And if you have kids, do a half a serving, because sometimes with my daughter, I give it too much. It's a lot. So do a half a scoop, right? You can make fun with it. I learned from Kim in the office, you know, get the bananas, put them in a baggie and put them in the freezer. You got frozen bananas, use that as your ice. So you can have fun with these. We have a recipe book. They taste fantastic. We can also make up your own protein bars, because I love protein bars, but I don't find many good ones on the market. I think there's that one No BS bar. It tells you like eggs and nuts right on the label. Most of the bars have too much sugar and bad fats. So you can make your own protein bites. You can make muffins, cookies. Some people use it to make pancakes and waffles, all types of different things, but have fun with it. And if you're hardcore in a rush, take the free shaker bottle we give you, throw water in there with a scoop of the smoothie, shake it, and you're done in about 30 seconds. So some of the great formulas for body composition. Baritone is great because it works on some of the hormones we talked about earlier. It has some really specific key nutrients like Ervingia, which is African mango. That will work on some of the hormones you probably don't hear often about, like leptin and adiponectin. When those are out of balance, I don't care how much you cut calories, I don't care how much you work out, you're not going to burn fat. So leptin and adiponectin get you back in, because there's a new term, Tracy, called leptin resistance. So I like Baritone for people who are having a lot of struggles overall. Tonylene is great, especially for decreasing fat and actually increasing body mass. I know Candace did really well on Tonylene, and she wasn't really trying to lose much body fat, but she knows she got stronger, recovered better. It's a good, healthy fat. It really helps a lot of the belly fat also. And then Garcinia is great because it has a very mild thermogenic ingredient without stimulating and burning out your adrenals. And it has chromium in it. How many people have you found, myself included, that had challenges with body weight that were low in chromium?
Yeah. And it was the big thing back when I was in like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it was junior high, you know, it was like everyone was on this chromium kick. The thing is, you only lose weight until you have chromium deficiency taken care of, and then it has to be something else. But we have about 6 minutes left, Jamie. I don't want to
Okay.
run too far over, so
Yep.
I don't want to rush you, but I just want to give you
No, you can fast forward. I'm good. So the other thing to do is it's always good to do a cleanse, spring cleaning. Start with the Remove Complete. This was created by Dr. Tracy. It has everything you need in it. The instructions, the booklet, the shaker bottle, the food, and the lymphatic, which is a secret weapon here. So really simple to use, very great value, inexpensive, and it works so well. So how often do you cleanse? At least once a year. And then once you get on a program, I like seasonal as the seasons change. So do you. So we're going to fast forward. The Power Cleanse has all the nutrients you need. This is an all-in-one meal. It has your super shake. It has your multivitamin. It has your minerals, has your liver support all in one. And the lymphatic system is your sewage system. So oftentimes people are bloated, they have holding water, fluid retention, and the reason is they're toxic. So one thing to do is get the body moving, because the lymphatic system does not have a pump. The other thing to do is add in a lymphatic tincture. One of the most popular of our liquid herbal tinctures by our doctors. They love this formula. They may combine it with some other ones, but a great formula to use for any fluid retention. So the other thing is make it fun, stay active, have a variety. Yeah, I lift the weights in my basement, but I added in yoga this week again. I do the walking. I take the dogs out. Last weekend we met my sister-in-law and her kids, and we walked at the park. You know, sometimes you may play basketball or tennis. Make it fun. Have a variety. I just bought a bike recently. Now, I don't bike every day, but I get a couple days in a week, and I'm only going 20, 30 minutes, nothing crazy. But you'll be shocked at some of the other muscles you're working. But try and incorporate an active lifestyle, because what I was finding for myself a few years back was that I do my workout at the gym, and then the rest of the day, I was like a slug. So that's not healthy either, right? You know, at work, we encourage yoga and walking during our breaks and lunch hour. Stretching, I know in Japan, they routinely stretch during the day. So deep breathing, these are all good things to help keep your body refreshed, keep that circulation going. And that way, you know, right now with the gyms closed, you can still get some type of workout and activity. And that's why Nutritional Frontiers in our program, we call it movement, not just workout.
Well, that was awesome information. We had a lot of good engagement, and I know our technical difficulties. We apologize for that, but we did get to YouTube. And so we'll probably be going straight to YouTube for the rest of the day, but you can come back to our Facebook page and find the link to the direct live stream on YouTube on our Facebook page. You just tap it and it'll take you right there. You have the option to open it in the YouTube app or just stay in the Facebook app. So great stuff. Thank you so much. This was
Thank you.
eye-opening. A very different approach to weight loss than just calories in and calories out. Now we know we have to look at detox. We have to look at probiotics. We have to look at our hormones, right? All of these things matter. So get with one of the people at the Weiner Wellness Center to help you tailor a program. And if you want any of these products, they're up to 30% off all week. So you can just call 412-922-WELL. And they will help you order, package it up, and ship it for free. So thank you, Jamie.
That's the key, is get a coach, right? Even me
Yeah.
with all my experience, sometimes you're too close to it. You think you know it, and when things that used to work don't work anymore, life changes, your body changes, your environment changes. You know, get down to the Weiner Wellness Center, get some evaluation going, and get some other support, and maybe some different eyes and ears on you. Because if you're not getting the results, you need to do something different. Thanks, Dr. Tracy. Thanks to everybody out there. Appreciate the support, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Anna.